Welcome to Retirement, your third act, the podcast for those navigating the transition from work to what comes next. Whether you're planning for retirement or already there, you're not alone. This is a time of change, excitement, and sometimes uncertainty, but it's also a time of opportunity. Hosted by Peter Watts, this podcast brings you real stories from people on the same journey, sharing their challenges, successes, and lessons learned. So, sit back, listen in, and find reassurance, inspiration, and ideas for your own third act. So let's get started. Over to your host, Peter.
We're here in our podcast episode for Retirement, Your Act 3 is what we're calling it. And I'm here today with someone whose retirement story journey transition into the Act 3 is something that really, truly inspires me. And I don't know if I'm pretty sure that's come across Marian, but I'm here with Marian Gumbrell, who has embraced life after work. It's seen her learn a new language, travel, sail around Greece, and today we're going to talk about your journey, all the things you've done. And for me, I really want to get across what life could look like if you really push those boundaries. And it might be that you're not even pushing the boundaries intentionally, but I think for some people, just hearing all the great things that you do on a regular basis or what you plan to do in the future is going to be really empowering. So welcome, Marian.
Hello, good morning.
So before I jump into all those lovely things, I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball to you and ask you, if you had to sum up retirement in 3 words, what would they be?
Freedom.
Okay, yeah.
Possibilities.
Oh, nice.
And
good.
time.
Okay, yeah, like that. Good.
And they're all interlinked.
Freedom, possibilities, and time. That's really, really good. Did you know you and I have got a 10-year anniversary coming up in October this year?
Have we?
Yeah. So when I look back at our relationship and how long we've been working for, geez, if we rewound the clock back 10 years, farmhouse, renting out, second property to an electrician, I think at the time, pinching your wood. That kind of stuff, skiing in the Alps.
Yes.
And I'm not going to steal your thunder and cover off all the other amazing things that you've achieved, but by God, you really have done a lot. And if my retirement looks like half of yours, I would be so pleased, so pleased. So I know all of that, but take us back to, because this is the podcast is all about the third act. So, the first act is about us being young, being taught, growing. And then the second act is the longest part because that's us in the world of work potentially. And then the third act is not the end, hopefully, but is a different transition, a different time of our life totally. So take me back to Marian working. What did that look like? Over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Working. I think it's a timetable.
Yeah.
You've got to be there. You've got to book your holidays, agree with the team, lead a team.
Yeah.
Don't lead a team.
Yeah.
Work with people you don't particularly like or respect.
Yeah. Okay.
It's difficult.
Yeah. So 10 years ago, farm. Tell me a little bit about you leading up to retirement, because that's when we first met, where pots, pensions here, there and everywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of, how do we get it in some form of order? Can you remember what that time of life looked like or maybe felt like?
Well, I was made redundant after 14 years.
Okay, yeah.
And I won't go down that avenue because that's very boring.
Yeah.
A shock at the time.
Yeah.
But I used the small pot, which I came away with, to convert an outbuilding into a holiday let.
That's right, yeah.
And so that was a hobby. That was a lovely project to get rid of any anger over redundancy.
Yeah.
And then following that, I let out the property, met some lovely people. And then a friend contacted me who owned an Arga Centre.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to help them with their Arga Centre and kitchen products, etc.
Right, okay.
So that was rather nice.
Yeah. Was that very different to what you were doing before?
Totally. It was front of house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, real front, meet and greet.
Yeah.
Meet and greet, smile, make cakes.
You'd be so good at that, Marian. That would have come naturally to you. I've got no doubt about that. Okay, good. So when finally, retirement came, I mean, what did it come abruptly, or did you kind of go from full-time to part-time to then...
I went full-time to then... Full-time for working for 14 years for one particular company, then helping a friend, and then helping an estate agent.
Okay.
I was...
Jeez, they're all really different.
and they're all friends of friends that introduced me. Yeah. And that was showing people around some wonderful houses around Dorset.
Right, okay.
And so that was part-time.
Lovely, yeah.
And that was quite an important part for me because working there, showing people around houses, it could be a one-bedroom flat, it could be a multi-million-pound property. Yeah. But that's where I found the house I'm living in now.
Was it? Really?
Yeah.
What, by doing that job?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was it one of the places you were going to sell, or was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. So fate, things happen for a reason.
It is. Yeah. So literally showing a couple from London who wanted a holiday home.
Yeah.
And I went into a townhouse, never lived in a town before, ever.
No.
Only ever lived in the countryside.
Yeah.
And I thought, this could be me.
Yeah. How different.
Totally different.
Was it when I bought our house 12 years ago now?
Yeah.
We're actually going to put an offer in on another house, and I really didn't want to go and see this one that we're in now. And I was saying, Paula, I really don't want to go. You know, we were going to put an offer on this place, and she said, no, we ought to honour it, be polite. And we walked up the drive. I didn't even go inside, and I was like, this is it. All of a sudden, just a flood of this is where I want to be. This is where I need to be, and it was such a strange feeling, but a really nice, reassuring feeling that we were going to be making the right decision. So we bought it, and I'm chuffed as nuts because it's our forever home. Was that the kind of similar situation with where you are now? Because you've created into a beautiful home.
Yeah,
so
it's a townhouse, and I just fancied something where I didn't have a domestic with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
I didn't have to get people in to cut hedging or anything like that. Yeah. So it's a townhouse with a courtyard garden, and it was a true lock and leave.
Right, okay.
The only problem is, a year later, I was locked in and I couldn't leave because we had lockdown.
Yeah, well, we did, didn't we? COVID, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah. And is that when a lot of your time is spent at home? Because it's very different now compared to where it was when you first bought it. Do you mind just touching on a summary of the kind of things that you've done? Because you've got a summer house, which I think we call it a summer house.
Yeah.
You've created a space outside on top of a roof. So do you just mind giving us an idea of the kind of things you've achieved in your house?
Well, the house was tenanted for 10 years. So it was rather tired.
Right.
And as soon as I walked in with this couple, I thought, it's not for you. Yeah. But I thought, once you get rid of the 3 children and all their toys and the tenants, it's a blank canvas. And so they had a little shed at the bottom of the garden, which was a work office. So I've turned that into a summer house with a wood-burning stove for the winter. Yeah. And upstairs it had a bit of a flat roof outside the guest bedroom. That's south-facing, so I made that into a sun terrace.
Beautiful.
So had the windows removed, double doors. Yeah.
Lovely. Making the most of the sun.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Good, lovely. So going back to your 3 words, and don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to remember them because I can remember, freedom most definitely, and transitioning into no more work, so to speak.
Yeah.
This is where your life, I just see, go bang. From me personally, from an observer, the freedom that you've now got, enabling you to do, what you want when you want. Do you just mind talking about the things that you've achieved? I say achieve. I'm saying achieve is probably the wrong word, but
it's the possibilities.
Yeah. Do you mind just talking about that?
Yeah, and I think we are our own worst enemy, and the only true failure, is not to try.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hear that.
Try. If you fail, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have there been things you've tried and failed, or
quite a few, but we won't go down
that's
that
another
yet.
podcast. That's another.
No, as you know, I play the saxophone.
Yeah.
And continue to play the saxophone with the band.
Yeah.
And in fact, at the weekend, we're playing for the Grizzly Run.
Okay.
Which is a multi-terrain course of 20 miles.
Yeah, that these mad, crazy people like doing.
And it's internationally known now.
Yeah. Wow.
And 3,000 people now take part.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So
is that your biggest audience that you guys have played to? Or
probably. It's an outside.
Outside, okay.
Yeah.
You've done stuff inside and different events and stuff.
Yeah, we've had the Jazz Festival at Lyme Regis.
Yeah.
And we headlined with Ruby Turner. Well, 15 down the list. We were there with return.
But what are the other thing? Tap danced?
Tap dancing, yes. A friend wanted to start tap dancing, so I gathered together 4 friends. And we started off in my sitting room, rolled up the rugs, and we started there.
So that's you trying?
Yeah, trying.
Succeeding?
Yeah.
Loving
and
it?
now she's got her own studio.
Has she?
And it had 15, 20
Marian.
different tap dancers.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And in fact, I'm missing the class today because I'm with
Oh,
you.
to be here. Oh, thank you very much. We'll have to bit of. I want to ask you to do a bit of a
Shuffleboard
tap.
change.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So
And
it's great fun.
we share a love of Italy.
Yes.
And we talk about that quite a bit. And
Yeah.
again, you astound me with the stuff that you've done, that you've tried.
Mm-hmm.
What comes into my mind straight away is you living with an Italian for a period of time and not speaking a word of English, which can be really scary. But you're Italian and must have come on leaps and bounds. So you've learnt a new language, haven't you? Now, I appreciate. Were you doing that before you retired? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When in fact that's another thing. I moved house.
Yeah.
And then found a night school next door with the
okay.
most gifted, gentle teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you haven't got that, you won't be able to learn anything.
Right, okay.
And I think as adults, if you take things up, you do it because you want to do it. Yeah. Unlike being a child going to school, you're there because you're sent.
Yeah.
But you really, and so it means a lot more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, Italy, and also travelling around Italy by myself.
Yeah.
What can go wrong?
Well, has there any nothing?
Well, you can miss a train.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. What do you do then?
Right,
Get on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're quite fluid in that. Does that kind of, when those kind of things happen, do you curl up? Well, you can't curl up into a ball and kind of not do anything. I suppose you have to call to action, don't you? And away you go. So it's possible. You try and sometimes you might not be able to get where you want to get to straight away. But
last year I took 10 trains in Italy.
Did you really?
Every single one was on time.
Yeah.
I travelled almost 400 miles.
Wow.
And the total cost was €50.
No, was it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it cost me 170 quid to get the
absolutely
and back at the weekend. Okay, that's incredible, isn't it? And is there a certain area of Italy that you're focusing in on, or?
No, I like to go to Italy, but I never return to the same place.
Don't you?
Nope.
No. There was a time where you were thinking about going over to Italy to work, wasn't there? Am I right in remembering that?
Possibly.
Was that something you tried and didn't?
Then I thought, why go out to work there unless I was self-employed?
Yeah. Okay. Was it employed?
Employed. That's right. I was being an English teacher.
Right. Okay.
And then I could be the English teacher from hell.
Do you think?
I think so. I get cross with myself learning Italian. Yeah.
So look, they're just a couple of things that I know and what we've spoken about when we catch up.
Yeah.
That you've done. Is there anything that I've missed?
Gosh.
Because sometimes we catch up and I sit down, Marian, and it's like I've done this, I've done that, I'm planning to do this. I think it was Maldives. Travelling's a big part of your time and spending time with family and friends. So, is there anything that I've missed that, Pete, you've not?
I do like a project, and that's with DIY.
Yeah.
And
yes.
That's
I thought of you at the weekend, actually.
Yeah. Do you like a bit
saw
of
a sofa and it reminded me of you with your curtains.
That's right. Yeah, so I do like the saw and electric drill and very much so. But I've just come back from Vietnam and Cambodia. Wow. So toured there for 3 weeks, which was great.
You and your friend? One other?
Yes, a school friend. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that was rather nice.
What was that country like? What countries?
I've been there now. Would I want to go back? No. The world is too big.
Is it?
Yeah, to revisit.
Yeah.
So I do love trains. So I'll be travelling to on the Bernina Express. So we're catching the train from St Pancras.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And then travelling all the way down to northern Italy.
Wow.
Also catching the Bernina Express.
Right, okay.
And then on the way back, we've got the Glacier Express.
And it was easy to, I'm just
book,
thinking, wow, how do you go ahead
just
and
book it up, Very easy.
Wow. And is it, you mentioned, just taking a step back, about the world's big. Is it intentional for you to go kind of further afield now while you're young, fit and able to, and therefore that's a tick in the box? Or is it just those things, Vietnam's kind of just happened, through a conversation with friends?
It's just a tick box.
Okay.
Yeah. The next one now is going to New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'd like to go to the other side now. I'd like to go to America.
Yeah.
And also Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be amazing. Anything in particular that's taken you to Nashville?
No, not really. Just the music.
I wonder if there's anything here with Nashville there.
I don't know.
Might have to have a look up there. Maybe a guitar behind you there. Yeah, good. Okay, so where are we? The things I wanted to kind of tick off. I love a travel, brilliant. Moving house, completely renovated it. So I wanted to touch on that because your house is beautiful, but it does constantly change every time I walk in. There's a new addition or there's some thoughts about what you're doing. And you've got a dog. Although the first time I met you, I believe you had a dog anyway, but Bunty came along, didn't she?
Yes, she
was
did.
that always on the plan to have
No.
some company? No?
No.
How did that come
No,
about?
I was coerced into getting another dog by my son and daughter-in-law.
Right, okay.
But because I needed company. I don't.
Right, okay.
And if I'm honest, life would be better without a dog.
Yeah.
Because it's responsibility of finding kennels or someone to look after the dog whilst you're away.
Yeah.
However, I do have a master plan.
Yeah, go for it.
Because some people's glass is half full or half empty. I plan to take her to Europe with me to travel to Italy.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I need to get her, not a passport, I think the vets call it now a health certificate.
Right, okay.
But that's really expensive. It's about £300.
Is it?
Yeah. And it's only for one trip.
That's ridiculous. I don't even know why that would be. It doesn't even cost us to do that, does it?
No. If you were actually in Italy to bring your dog over to the UK, it's €50.
Wow, okay, geez. That is something for another podcast at some time.
It is indeed.
Just moaning and groaning about comparing ourselves
Yeah.
to others and how expensive.
I don't know where the money's going. I don't know whether it's going to the government or the vets.
No,
Don't know.
okay. But she's going to be
be
there
with,
for the journey
yeah,
as well.
I am now that little old lady with a miniature poodle.
No, you're not. You're not one little bit.
But she's portable and she doesn't shed hair. Yeah.
Moving on to kind of lessons and advice, because a part of this is whole point of us talking about people's at threes is people might be sat at home struggling or not really we all learn differently. So some people may be, I've got a plan, I know what it's going to be like. And some people will be like a feather and go whichever way the wind goes. But other people are quite visual. And this is why I wanted to get this out so people can hear what is possible, what is achievable. Yeah. So looking back at your time, and I just want to focus on kind of the money side of it. What was your best financial decision transitioning or during retirement? Can you think of the money side of allowing you to do Vietnam, Maldives, the renovations at home? Just tell us a little bit about the money side of things. Well,
I think you've got two decisions really for retirement. You've got to find yourself, if you're a single woman, a very, very wealthy man with a very weak heart. Or
is that plan A? Was it?
That was plan A. Or find yourself a really good financial advisor.
Oh, not attractive,
absolutely
handsome.
That gets to know you. Yeah. Doesn't provide you with a portfolio with a huge amount of columns. Yeah. Although I have to be said, the portfolios do make very good bedtime reading for insomnia.
Yeah. Page 3, you're asleep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Page 3.
Well, you're lucky if you get to page 3.
I was just about to say page 3. Yeah, no. End of half page 1.
Yeah. No, I hear that. So, I like plan A.
Yeah.
But plan B, I'm happy to be anybody's plan B, so to speak. And that's really nice to hear, actually, because sometimes people think of financial advisors of people that are suited and booted and come out and talk about a lot of jargon. I know you and I, yes, I'm occasionally wearing a suit and a tie, but if we look at our meetings that could be 2 hour long, sometimes we'd be talking about all the wonderful things you're doing in your life and your plans, and we'd be chatting about what's your thoughts about this, Pete? Do I put a log fire into this part of the building? And we'd just be talking just naturally what's going on. And actually the financial bit, because we've got a financial plan because we've spoken about it in the past. We've built it. That actually, I can confidently sit there and say for 20 minutes of our 2 hours time and say, you're okay now, and you're going to be okay. You're still not going to run out of money. Still spend. Still go out there and enjoy it. And by the way, these are certain areas that we might need to consider to move forward. So that's really nice to hear how I've maybe been a part of your success.
Oh, essential part.
What would you say to people that are worrying about retiring? How would you? I'm pretty sure you've probably done this with your own friends and family that are keep using the word struggle, but there's a block, there's a hurdle of going, wow, you've done Vietnam, wow, you've done Italy. I want to do those things. What's the first step? How do people?
I don't know. As I've said before, I don't think you can change people's attitudes and outlook on life.
Right.
You're either half full or half empty.
So you're either a doer or a
Absolutely,
don'ter, if that's a word. Yeah.
And
okay.
if you don't want to, then you don't have to.
Yeah.
But also, it's not a terminal illness.
Sure.
It's there to be grabbed.
That's really, yeah. Do you know, that's really nice to hear, because sometimes we all kind of think we've got to fit into a box, or we've got to fit in a compartment.
Yeah.
And actually, you're not alone with this, because it's other conversations I have with other people, is you can make it your own.
Totally.
If that isn't you, then don't try and be someone else in retirement. Don't try and feel that you've got to achieve something. I mean, I was talking to someone earlier and they were talking about, even if it's just reading a book, it might not be having to be traveling around the world or doing cruises and, doing things that people might put on social media about saying how wonderful my life is. If your purpose is about just reading a book or learning a bit of music or pushing your boundaries to, pick up the harmonica and learn, then actually that's your thing. So that's really nice to hear. I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway from me doing this, is actually, yes, there's people's journeys, but they haven't necessarily written it down and gone, right, Act 1 is this, Act 2 is this, Act 3 is this, and if I don't get there, then it's going to be, I've not achieved everything I want to achieve. Actually, it's quite fluid.
Because life is a book, and it's full of chapters, but it's not the end chapter. It's organic.
Yeah. So I really like that. So let's just spend just maybe a minute on that. What's a chapter you haven't written yet that you would like to? Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
Oh, gosh, that's a difficult question. Chapter? Well, my chapters, you see, they seem to arrive organically. So I'm not planning ahead. I'm not a planner ahead, I don't think.
Okay.
It happens, and then I can embellish it.
Yeah.
And then I can look back, and then I can write the chapter.
Yeah.
But actually planning things, because you can get disappointed planning.
Yeah. Okay, I hear that.
And I think if you've been self-employed or employed all your life, the time's now.
Yeah.
And the possibilities are now.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
And
That's the
it's just
soundbite,
you.
isn't it? That's the
Yeah.
time. The time is now.
Yeah.
Everything's possible now.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And why not? And if you want to sit and read a book in the garden, so what?
Then why not? Why not? Good. So look, you've had an amazing retirement so far, and I think a lot of people would have taken a lot out of just our little time together today around what's possible, things you've achieved. Is there anything that you wanted to give a piece of advice to? I mean, there's some great things you've already said, but is there anything that, how would you sum up your retirement? I know we've said about the 3 words, but if by me talking about us doing this podcast together, it's probably given you a bit of time to reflect on the things that you've done and the journey that you've been through. So can you summarize where you've been and where you are now?
I'm just mulling along. I'm bimbling along because I don't have a timetable. Sure. I don't have to say yes or no to anyone. Yeah. I just have to please me. Yeah. So it's a very selfish time, but highly enjoyable.
Yeah. That's really nice. That's really nice. I know someone's going to benefit from hearing that, most definitely.
Yeah, and why not?
Yeah.
You can just sit back and And if you want to sit at home, you can do. If you want to travel, and also park your ego. An awful lot of people, when they retire, may think they've got to now prove themselves.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Good.
We're all different.
Yeah.
All different and all individual.
Love it. And do you know what? I wouldn't be doing any justice if I didn't. And I wasn't even going to say this today. What do you call? And you may have forgotten a couple of things. What do you call the state pension? There was a term. I don't know if you can remember it.
Oh, crikey!
There was something. I loved what you called you receive on a state pension.
Yeah.
I have to think about it.
I don't know. Maturity bond.
Maturity bond.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Like
Something like that.
The way you twist, but kind of put it in your own language around what it means. It wasn't, it's a state pension. I've now all of a sudden hit that age. It's around, okay, I've now matured and I've got this money that's matured from this bond. Good. Do you know what, Marian? I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming out, taking the time out of your busy day to be able to share your story. And like I've already alluded to, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to really enjoy listening to the things that you've achieved, the things that you've done, and hopefully maybe allow someone to push their own boundaries and go, do you know what, if you can do it, then I can do it as well. So
I think I'd just finish on,
never
please. Die wondering.
Never die wondering. Like that. There we go. That's our takeaway. That's our soundbite.
Right, yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, lovely to meet you again, Pete.
Good. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Retirement, Your Third Act. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe, like, and share it with others who might benefit. Until next time, take care.